I hope you're all well. Before we do get into today's sort of match reaction, as always, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for daily Rangers content. I say daily; it's been a little while. We have been, I've been dealing with a lot of stuff recently, with a lot of projects that I've been working on. So, unfortunately, I haven't been that consistent with the Rangers sort of content. But of course, I do want to try and be as consistent as I possibly can, because I absolutely love the Rangers. Now, I have got a little bit of help here, guys. I'm going to be going through this game, as Rangers, of course, did beat Ross County 3-0. We've seen a lot of change in the last three matches from a Rangers perspective, which is absolutely fantastic to see. We've done a bit of a shape change. That's seen us score 13 goals in our last three games, guys. 13 goals in our last three games. Now, everybody knows me as probably one of the sort of biggest Philippe Clement out guys around. But I would say, as I said, I still do believe the jury's still out with regards to Philippe Clement at this moment in time. But the last few games, 4 games or whatever, especially, have been rather great to watch from a Rangers perspective. And as I said, we're scoring a ton of goals, which is absolutely fantastic to see. It all kind of started with that 4-1 victory against Nice, which was amazing to see. Then we've, of course, got a win against St Johnstone away from home, beating Kilmarnock 6-0, and then, of course, beating Ross County today. But what's changed? Why are Rangers starting to score goals? Well, it is a bit of a change in the sort of shape that we're starting to see. And I've actually got, we've been done a lot of research, a bit of tactical analysis on this game already, which I'm going to give you in today's sort of live stream. Do bear with me. This is the first time we're doing this kind of stuff, so I'm going to be looking down to my notes that we've wrote throughout the game. But I'll get images up and all that sort of stuff. But 3-0 against Ross County. And if you think about the last time we played Ross County, we didn't necessarily did great at Dingwall. Especially I think when towards the end of last season, we were absolutely terrible against Ross County. And again, we've been struggling on the road a lot so far this season. We've been struggling so much on the road, and we're not scoring goals. I think take away the last few games, or take away this game, we were the lowest, or take away that game against where we scored a lot of goals, I think we're the lowest scoring team on the road within the Scottish Premiership, which is pretty poor. So what's changed from a Rangers perspective? Well, a few things have changed, as I stated, with the shape. Now, I'm going to get into that momentarily, but this man also, or Danilo and Egerman, have been absolutely fantastic so far for us. And as I said, today, the sort of genius trick, or the genius thing Philippe Clement did in this game was essentially, we had a great start in this game, but I want to check out how Clement set up his side today, because a subtle change and a genius trick that he made was really interesting, and it could potentially play a factor against Celtic next weekend, and then against Spurs on Thursday. In recent videos, we've highlighted the problem that the Belgium has had with selecting teams, with selecting his first team strikers, usually between Dessers, Egerman and Danilo. And today, he has basically fixed this problem. But how? Well, it's simple. Playing 2 up top. I mean, this dates back to the last game against Kilmarnock as well. Instead of setting up with your traditional run-of-the-mill 4-4-2 and lumping the ball into the box, Clement instead subtly changed Egerman's role, with the striker playing as a roaming 3 role instead of his usual position up top. What this meant was that he was able to do what he pleased, essentially dropping deep into midfield, popping up on the wing, just roaming up the pitch, as we mentioned. But why? Usually when managers let players do this, it's so defenders have a problem tracking down the forward, opening up gaps across the pitch as they try and keep tight to the striker. And what's even more interesting is that Clement hasn't just done that with Egerman's role, he's also done it with Danilo, who's playing as the second striker, dropping also into central areas across the opening 45 minutes of that first half, with both centre forwards rotating to play as central attacking midfielders in a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-2-4, depending on what way you view it. But did it work? That's the question. Did his trick work? Well, in my opinion, it certainly did. Also, not to mention the strikers changing, guys. Yanis Haji also playing a different role as well. Now, Haji's been cut out of the game, or cut out of the team for a while, but I think he's been absolutely remarkable since joining, coming back into this Rangers side. And in terms of the way that this system is suited to Haji, when we highlighted his role for Clement in our last match analysis against St Johnstone, we broke down how the Romanian was the main conductor for the Rangers' attack, dropping deep into midfield with attacking options ahead of him, like we can see in this image. But how did this change today? Well, with both Igaman and Danilo rotating between that position that Haji played last week, instead of playing as a midfielder, the Romanian moved out on the wing. But is this a good move by Clement? Well, last week we certainly saw how exactly Haji offered out on the wing, creating that was ultimately the game-winning goal for Tavernier, or the own goal as it went down as the same position. But how about today? Well, it does appear that Haji is just a good footballer no matter where he plays on the pitch. He plays mainly when it comes to creating chances, and while we're still waiting on him to grab his first goal since returning, he has been fantastic in terms of creating chances and is playing that role really, really well. So that sort of subtle change that we're starting to see there from, for Haji's perspective as well. Sorry for these blurry images, by the way, but I do think Haji's been playing this role really, really well. And also, of course, with the strikers, Igaman, I think, looks like a really, really good talent so far in terms of what happened. In terms of the actual goal today, I just thought it was beautiful. I genuinely did. I think with him constantly moving and shifting positions, it makes it impossible for the Ross County defenders to track him, with the defenders expecting him to pop up on the edge of the box. Judging by his terrible positioning, Igaman moves out further and drops even deeper to fall and play around with the Ross County defence. Now, this is something in Scottish football that needs to happen. We've struggled so much with trying to break down these sort of low blocks. They've been a massive problem for Philippe Clement, and he's really struggled to do so. So playing the strikers or playing the two up top in this area, I think has changed the whole dynamic on how we're going about it, and causing confusion for the Ross County sort of defenders and the back line. When it was his time to come, he put the ball into the back of the net, and I thought it was a fantastic shot and a fantastic finish. And Danilo, of course, gets a goal, and then along with Tavernier as well. But this sort of change in the shape is really, really working out for Rangers so far, which is really, really good to see. I'm happy that the way it is playing out and playing into our hands, and certainly against these sort of low block teams, which I think we've been really, really struggling against. Well, Clement's been really, really struggling against. I think it's genuinely worked out very well. Look, it's early days as well. Look, I don't want to get too carried away. It's a win against Ross County, fantastic. We've beaten Kilmarnock at home, great. So we should be. But again, if you've been watching Rangers, it's been an absolute slog most of the time watching this team. So to actually see us do well and actually win these games comfortably, not watching it and falling asleep as you're watching it, it's quite good to see from a Rangers perspective. But we've got some big challenges this week. We've got a huge game against Tottenham. Again, they're going to be playing later on today. I think they've got Chelsea. So we need to, well, we'll see what happens in that game. But look, there's every chance that we could be going up against the Tottenham side that isn't full of confidence. And we've actually been doing really well in the Europa League so far. But another big test is Celtic at the weekend. So again, it's no time to get carried away, but certainly something to get a little bit excited about in terms of this change of system. It's good to see Dessa's not necessarily playing, but Danilo, Igaman, I think he's a genuinely a really, really good talent. And I understand now why Clement said they had to buy him this summer, because he would have been unavailable next year. He genuinely looks super, super talented. So, yeah, I'm happy. With 3 points, and second is currently in our hands. We win our game in hand over Aberdeen, then we'll go into second place. Not something I like to celebrate as a Rangers fan necessarily, but we'll see what happens. But we've got some big tests coming up this week. And as I said, another great goal by Tavernier also. So, yeah, it is what it is, guys. And, yeah, Rangers get another 3 points. But bring on this week. We've got Spurs next. Thank you, guys, and I'll see you next time. Look after yourselves.